Hello friends. Today in our fifth or sixth lecture of a corporate valuation, where we will see now what are the guidelines and the advanced issues in the corporate valuation. So up till now we have seen DCF method, we have seen relative method, brand valuation, we will see startup valuation also. So now sometime we come out with some advanced issues in the valuation. So that we will see now. Along with that, we will also see what are the key steps to be kept in mind so that the valuation can be proper. So let us look at this slide. Yeah, friends. So in this lecture, we will see as I informed about the guidelines first and the advanced issues there. So what are the guidelines for the corporate valuation? So we need to understand the how various approaches are there in the valuation, and use at least two different approaches, means two different valuations. Approaches means here is a valuation. Use simpler model than the required less data. So whatever the simpler model is there, instead of 10 years horizon, you can go for 5-year horizon, terminal values, etc. You can so choose that particular method where you require less data. Work with a value range means if you have three methods applied for a particular valuation, then there will be some range. So a more sensible approach would be to look at 2 or 3 possible scenarios and define the range value. Say for example, the value of a company is 100 crore to 125 crore, 150 crore. So this is the range. Based on the value indicators for the scenarios to take care of the uncertainties. So any uncertainties is there, then it will be covered in this particular range. Tell a story but support with data. So you can always tell a story to a buyer, but you should have a data for this. So human being have a natural tendency to tell a story to justify why a company should command a certain value. So as a valuer, you have an obligation to support the story with the data. So don't only go with the story, support with the data. Say for example, you have a R&D expenses, then don't give the story without data. You should have a data. What is the expenditure that you have incurred for the R&D kind of stuff? Check various scenarios and numbers. So there are value drivers as we have discussed in the first lecture, like invested capital, return on investment, return on invested capital, growth rate, cost of capital. Often the appraisers have difficulty in getting handle over the return on invested capital. Or is the most critical value driver. Since the return on invested capital is mainly the function of the entry barrier, the appraise must go behind the numbers and examine carefully entry barriers like economies of scale, product differentiation, technological edge, access to distribution channels, patent protection, and government license. So these are the other modes or the value drivers which you should sell along with your data. Avoid any reverse financial engineering. So don't do reverse financial engineering. Whatever the data you have, the last 5 years or last 3 years, and you give a reasonable rationale about the data. Beware of possible common calculation error like use of shortcuts, short forecast horizon, etc. Adjust for control premia or non-marketability. For example, there can be different level of value depending on like control rights associated with the ownership stake, marketability of the product or the ownership stake, strategic premium that a potential acquirer is willing to pay. So this you need to adjust against the particular value. For example, a prospective buyer who can derive synergetic gain may pay a strategic premium of 20% over the control value. So you should also look at the who is a buyer and its capability. If you know that this buyer is very much capable of to bring this business into an action, then you should ask for a certain premium. Valuation of multi-business companies. So this is very, very important. Whenever there is a multi-business companies, it is very difficult to find out the valuation of each segment. So since the different businesses of a multi-business company have a different financial characteristics, ROI or growth rate or risk, it is best, it is important, it is imperative to value each business separately. Please keep it in mind. Is each business separately and not with the as a whole. Then sum the part of to obtain the value of the entire company. So if there is a business A, business B, business C, business D, then you have to value each, then sum up. While the principle of valuation remains the same for all kind of stuff, there are some unique issues that arise in context of multi-business company. This is like creation of business unit financial statements, estimation of cost of capital for each business unit. For example, a particular business required FA and net working capital. So for FA, they must have taken term loan, and net working capital is mixed because it is going as a entity. In that case, how to bifurcate this mixed loan taken for the company, and then you have to interpret the result. So this is little difficult but not impossible. You need to value the business separately, find out the assets allocated to a business separately. Net working capital you can always divide into the base of fixed assets or capital employed. Now there are certain issues in the valuations, advanced issues, like the valuation of companies that have a subsidiaries. Many companies have a subsidiaries or associate companies in which they have significant equity stakes that is range from 25 to 100. To ascertain the intrinsic value per share of such companies, the sum of the part method, it means SOTP, sum of the parts method valuation is commonly employed. The SOTP method involves the following steps. So this is the method which people are employing. Determine the value per share attributable to the core business. So out of 4 segments or have a subsidiaries, if you have a subsidiaries, then you find out the core business. One way to do is that to calculate the earning per share from the core business and apply a suitable multiple to it. Find the value per share for each of the listed subsidiaries. So there can be listed subsidiaries and there can be non-listed or unlisted subsidiaries. And then you can find out the unlisted subsidiaries. So first you find out the core business, listed, then unlisted, because there are various criteria for this too. Add per share value for the core business, for listed subsidiary and for the unlisted subsidiary to get the total value per share. Let us take an example. A company, A Limited, has B, C, D and E subsidiaries and associates. These two are the listed, these two are the unlisted. And it has a certain core business itself. Find out the values of this and this value per share. And then you can find out the value per share of the business of the company. Another is the value of a high growth business. So if there are high growth companies, then start from the future, reverse way. As of now, what we were doing is start from the past to the future. Now we can start from the future. Work backward to the current performance. Develop the scenarios, because if there is a high growth company, there can be uncertainties. So develop a few possible scenarios. Estimate the revenues, pre-tax margin, capital turns, DCF, equity value for the different scenarios. So you find out the different scenarios, because you cannot say I will be having 75% growth YOY or 80% growth YOY. No. Then you need to find out this is one scenario, then second scenario, then third scenario. You need to go for a multiple scenario. Estimate the expected equity value. Obtain the expected equity value by multiplying the equity value under the each scenario by probability of its occurrence and adding this product across the all scenarios, and then you can have an average. Now value of synergy. This is the last thing which we will do. As I discussed in many of my lectures, why people do a mergers, because only because of synergy. We indicate with Y or synergy with S. The firm involved in merger are valued independently. So if there is company A getting merged with company B and named as company C, so first you have a value of these two. Okay. By applying discounting cash flow to each firm at a weighted average cost of capital. So we will apply WACC and we will do that. The value of the combined firm, now you come to a value of the combined firm after the merger with no synergy, is obtained by the adding the value obtaining for each firm in the first step. So with no synergy, you just add these two. The effect of synergy are built into the expected growth rate and cash flows, and combined firm is revalued with the synergy. So there will be some motive after this merger. So they will be having some expectation on this company C. So value this company with the revised expected cash flow after merger, with revised growth rate and with revised WACC. You will get one value here, and you have already got one value here and one value here. If you add these two, it will become pre-merger, and compare with this new valuation, you will get a difference. That is called as the value of synergy. Value of synergy is equal to value of the combined firm with synergy minus value of the combined firm without synergy. That is what we normally take as a value of synergy. Let us take an example of Kotak Mahindra Bank and ING Vaicha. Synergy was what? Market capturing. What market Kotak was eyeing on? South market. That is what the synergy. We have another exact example, Ranbaxy and Sun Pharma. Recently, we have an example of Reliance and Future Group. So everywhere there is a synergy they are expecting, and this synergy can be worked out like this. So valuation of A, then valuation of B, total it up, then you compare with the C valuation which we have done independently. The difference is the value of synergy. Right, friends? So as usual, keep learning, grow yourself. Sky is the beginning. There is no limit. We always see that we will grow in the future, and we'll come up with the startup valuation in the next lecture. And that will be the last lecture of our this one. And the startup valuation is something different than the other valuation. So it will be a 7 to 8 minutes video, and we will accordingly complete our this valuation playlist, corporate valuation playlist. Thank you very much, friends, for patient hearing. For more videos, you can log into my YouTube channel. Thank you very much.